Hi, Joe and Iona here at Willie Cottage. It's a bit brighter today, so I've not need to put these glarish lights on. It is day 10 Advent. So I don't know about you, but I'm getting the people. I can't wait for these colours to start brightening up. It's really hard. I have to tell you, it's really hard when you're doing these dye pots and everything else up, because sometimes I'm really tempted to throw in some neon in there, and I might just do it next year because I know a lot of my customers don't like neons. So I'm always thinking of them and the colours they like. So sometimes when I look at it, I'm like, oh crikey, it's all following the same flaming palette. Honestly, I have more skills up my sleeves, as you all know, than I have the colour themes that are popping out at the moment. But they're usable. You can make things with them. They're not awful, and they are still really good quality. But it's not my colours. They're just not me at all. Give me a bit of coastal colours and some lovely greens and some lovely blues and things like that, and a pop of neon now and again, and I'm yours. Right, so today we've got an art bat, and it's called Rosebud. So I have mixed and dyed Polworth, so I was thinking of all the shades of a lovely baby rosebud, and even the ones with pinks have these hints of different colours in there. So sort of dual toned type of baby bud flower. So it's lovely and fluffy. So in that, as well as viscose, there's merino, there's natural merino in there, 21 count merino. It's got Angelina, and it's got silk in with it as well, but a white silk. And you can see all these little white neppy bits. That's the viscose that's popping through. And there's mulberry silk in the dark purpley tones there. And some other tints of colours is like slint peach in that, baby pink or rosebud pink, and a little bit more lavender. I think when I was naming this, the first thing that popped to my head was rosebud, but it's making me think of another flower. Is it a lay Thanthius or something like that? It looks like a little rose, but it's not, and it's got a really looser open bud. But we went with rosebud, so that's what we've got today. So I'm just going to sit here and spin this off, just a nice steady spin. I've got Morgana, so we're going to sit here, do a bit of spinning. I'm watching my YouTube channel. I have some videos I need to catch up on today. I am dye potting it as well, so if you see me getting up and down a couple of times, it's because I can hear my pot about to bubble away. So I'm trying to get my batty clubs dyed up today so I can get them blended, and I'll be videoing that, but I won't be releasing that video. Probably Boxing Day I might set the premiere for that, because by that time I would have stopped doing all my daily vlogs, and it'll be time for me to start thinking about getting my videos up and going. So yeah, I'm just going to do a nice gentle spin with this, and then apply it together and see how it comes out. Yeah, it's lovely and soft. You can see the layers in between those. So if you're felting, you can pull the sections out, and you'll end up with a sheet with purples more than you've got pinks, and then you'll end up with another flat sheet where it'll end up more pinks with hints of white and peach in there. And there's different tones of pink, and there's like a dusky pink, there's a baby pink, there's different tones of lilac in that as well. So yeah, have a little play with it, see what you come up with. Right, I'm off. I'll see you on the other side. Hope you like the stories today. I've gone with Wales for my country of haunted stories today, so I hope you enjoy them. See you in a bit. So in Wales, there's over 600 castles lie across the Welsh countryside, nestled in forest parks and even right in cities. With the highest concentration of castles anywhere in the world, from the Iron Age to Tudor era and beyond, the castles in Wales stand as a witness to thousands of years' change, wartime and hardship. In these haunted castles in Wales, history lives on through the paranormal, Victorian ghosts, headless apparitions and a slew of unexplained phenomena. Gerich Castle, Abigail. Located in beautiful Abigail, the hillside property of Gerich Castle stretches for 236 acres, all of them teeming with ghosts. The site dates back to the Lloyd family, in medieval times, but which wasn't until the early 1800s that the Lloyds incorporated their home into the castle that stands today. Since then, it's belonged to King George V and Edward VIII, housed Jewish refugees during the Second World War, and served as the set for ITV's I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here. Ghost sightings date back as far as 1913, when a man saw a beheaded creature in Gerich Castle field. Another heard disembodied screeching. Despite these sightings being explained later, the castle's reputation as a place for mystery. Common apparitions of former owner Winifred, Countess of Dundonald, an old grounds worker, and several antiquated staff members. The Countess's husband, the Earl of Dundonald, supposedly manifests as a distinctly negative presence, par of the course, considering he selfishly overtook the castle after she died. Once a month, the castle opens its door to ghost hunters, and you can get tickets for anything for £40 to go and search for evidence of paranormal activity. Whittington Castle in Denbighshire. Even if you don't see a ghost at Whittington Castle, which you probably will, a visit to the hotel, restaurant and spa is well worth the drive. The castle's property backs up to the Llywelyn Range, which strategically built in 1277 for King Edward I. The Iron Age fort was the site of wartime in the 12th century, and the de Grey noble family's home and base in the 1300s as the first private hospital in Great Britain in 1923. With the entire town of Rothin considered one of the scariest haunted locations in Wales, taking a walk through the historic Whittington Castle at night is no joke. Ghosts include the terrifying Grey Lady who caught her husband cheating on her, murdered the mistress and then was executed for her crimes. She is said to frequent the food hall and towering battlements outside. Some ghost hunters even claim to see glowing orbs floating in the air on the castle grounds. Gwadia Castle in Conway Valley. The 16th century fortified manor is a stunning Tudor home with expertly tended gardens and a flock of peacocks to welcome you, along with a horde of medieval ghosts. Gwadia's castle, many noble residents include the Mother of Wales, Catherine Berrin, and much later King George V and Queen Mary, and when they were Duke and Duchess of York. In the early 1900s, when the castle's fate was unknown, an American media tycoon, William Randolph Hearst, bought the gilded panels from the dining room, which have since been returned to the historic site. It is in the ghost room, though, that visitors can most often report seeing the Grey Lady, an apparition who carries a putrid stench with her, down the corridor between the Hall of Meredith and the Great Chamber. Some say the ghost belongs to an unfortunate servant who Sir John Wynne seduced before murdering her and hiding her body in the castle chimney. Hence the foul smell that only gets stronger as you get closer to the room. Between this unsettled soul and many other spirits people have seen and heard and felt, including a possession that along the Great Terrace at night. Powys Castle in Welshpool. Perfectly restored and maintained castle in mid-Wales, dates back to the 1200s when the Herbert family lived there. The estate is reportedly haunted by a lady in black who likes to hang out by one of the bedroom fireplaces. The ballroom's grand piano is another favourite spot of hers, and you can often hear her playing when the room is empty. The history of ghosts at Powys Castle dates back to the 1780s when a male apparition dressed in a gold-laced suit ordered a castle guest to remove a locked box and a hidden key in their room, demanding that they send it to the Earl of Powys. He promised to end the hauntings at the castle in exchange for this errand, but he must have undergone this because visitors today still report plenty ghosts. Cragninos Castle in Powys. Nestled in the Brecon Beacons National Park, the Victorian-era Gothic castle has a long and at times arduous history. After the building was completed in 1943, the Powell family, rumoured to be cursed, lived there through the deaths of Captain Powell's son, wife, daughter, and after his death, his oldest son, and later the famous opera singer Adeline Patay, bought the estate and lived there until she died in 1919. With the Castle Adeline Patay Theatre honouring her legacy to this day as the tuberculosis pandemic surged in the UK. Craiginos became a sanatorium called Adelina Patty Hospital, where the first effective tuberculosis medication was administered to children. With such a strong continued presence of Patty's legacy, the castle complicated history with the terrible disease of tuberculosis. It's no surprise that ghosts haunt the castle. During the TB era, nurses reported seeing apparitions and hearing footsteps during their shifts. Today, some ghosts say that they have had trouble breathing while they're in the hallways, or that they can sense the presence of the former TB patients. The children's ward, where many sufferers perish from TB, is a hotspot for full-bodied apparitions and children's laughter. Gerich Castle in Carew, Pembrokeshire. Belonging to the Carew family since as early as 1095, Carew Castle is their namesake. While the family leased it to Pembrokeshire Coast National Park today, their history with the castle dates from 1000 through to the 1600s, when the family abandoned the home. Around 10,000 AD, Gerald of Windsor adopted the Iron Age fort as part of a Princess Nest diary. His wife. In the 1200s, a medieval Carew built the main structure before the plague ravaged the region in the 1500s. With such a long history, it's no surprise that paranormal hunters, sure of ghostly activity on this riverside estate, the castle is open for ghost hunts upon request, where the guests might see the ghost of the Princess Nest, known as the most beautiful woman in Wales. She is known as a friendly spirit despite the hardships she dealt with during her life, like being kidnapped and forced to bear children by her cousin Owain, and the peculiar ghost that is resurrected pet ape of Sir Rowland Rees, who once ordered the monkey to kill a man. Sir Rowland ended up dead that night, but the ape was nowhere to be found, and ghost hunters believe it returns to the visit castle periodically. Cardiff Castle. Right in the city centre, this urban castle dates back to 55 AD and is home to rich local history, contemporary live music events and numerous film and TV sets. The Gothical Revival Castle was a Roman fort before prestigious families like the Tudors and the Butes, making it one of the UK's most important and well-known castles. Cardiff's castle ghosts include one of the most iconic apparitions of all time, the ghostly coach pulled by phantom horses. This manifestation was the first reported hearing of noises of horses and carriages approaching the main castle gates. The person saw a full apparition of a coach with horses trotting right through the gates of the castle. Legend says the sight of the ghostly coach means impending death to your family. Less haunting but decidedly more spooky is the spirit of John Crichton Stewart, the second Marquess of Bute, who died in the castle and now roams through the thick walls in a red Victorian coat. Castle Cock in Tongwillis. This formerly abandoned Norman fort from around 10,000 AD has altered and modified several times over, having been rebuilt from the medieval ruins in the 1800s. The castle was one of Britain's first commercial vineyards in the late 1800s and now belongs to the state. The unique style and location right in the middle of an ancient beech forest make Castle Cock one of Wales's most picturesque castles, and is also one of the most haunted. Ghost hunters have braved the dark deep in the dungeons of the castle. Some believe have served the prison cells and punishment chambers. Some have reported feeling like someone or something is watching them. The sinister mood at Castle Cock is not for the faint of heart, with guided ghost tours leaving visitors chilled to the bone from the likes of the Great Hall spirits, known to touch ghosts and make loud bangs around the walkways. Margam Castle, Neath Port Talbot. The Victorian House, a mansion built for town's eponymous Christopher Rice Mansell Talbot in the 1800s, dates back to the Iron Age, when a hill fort sat on the grounds. A 16th century mansion stood there until the 1700s, when it was demolished, only to be rebuilt again next to the ruins, which was again added to Talbot's request in the 1800s. It stayed in Talbot ownership for many years until the 1940s. A fire in 1977 nearly destroyed the then decrepit castle, which sparked the restoration efforts to make it a popular tourist destination today. With an episode of Ghost Hunters filmed there and tons of ghost reports over the years, Margam Castle as a great place for a self-guided ghost tour. The spirit of Robert Scott, an old gamekeeper who was murdered on the grounds, is said to protect a negative, angry energy. He storms around the castle. Another common sighting is an apparition of a blacksmith, but he knows to appear only to contemporary groundskeeping staff. The castle is open for events. Just phone them up and give them a booking. Caerphilly Castle. Built onto the ear of Prince of Wales, the spectacular Caerphilly Castle is the second largest castle in Great Britain, with 30 acres full of towers, battlements, gatehouses and trademark thick walls surrounding it. The castle has been through a lot, including being a battle site during the Civil War, leaving it with fascinating features like the Askew Leaning Tower. In paranormal terms, Caerphilly Castle is considered one of the most haunted castles in all of Wales, as they all say. Most famous is the Green Lady, who is thought to be Princess Alice's ghost from the 1200s. Despairingly in an unhappy marriage with the castle owner, the Prince of Burdurth, came down to town and swept her off her feet. When she told a monk of her affair, her husband, Gilbert de Clare, murdered the monk. Soon after, Gilbert was murdered by the prince, prompting Alice's untimely demise. Although she died in France, ghost hunters think the princess's present spirit haunts the site of her lover's death. Boverton Castle in Glamorgan. The castle was founded during William the Conqueror's heyday and is home to the Boverton Castle, built in the 1100s, with one rebuild in the 1500s and another renovation in the early 1800s, and a pile of ruins remaining today. The estate is ripe for hauntings. The most famous ghost sighting is of the Black Lady, first spotted in the 1800s when the castle was being renovated. Several working men say they spotted a tall woman with dark aura pursuing in clothes of mourning. She's thought to be Hadwiser, the Earl of Gloucestershire's daughter, and it's believed her husband abandoned her, and in her anguish she supposedly locked herself inside the castle, where she eventually died. Some visitors say that they can feel her touch and her cries of sorrow. Cadwelly Castle in Carmarthenshire. This Norman castle has stood over the bank of the River Gwadia since the 1100s, when the fortified castle was repeatedly under siege with the Welsh. Located in the countryside of southern Wales, the most famous site of Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and present-day Cawdor site, welcomes visitors to walk around the grounds to learn about the history. Ghosts include most famously the spirit of Cwelen Griffith, who is the wife of Griffith ap Rhys. She was captured by the Normans during the battle at the castle and was later beheaded. Two of her sons also died at this battle, leaving the castle scorched by death. Her beheaded ghost is seen frequently on the grounds of the estate. Skidded Mountain Inn in Abergavenny. The Skidded Inn is a 4 and a 5-star public house located in the Welsh village of Caerphilly. It is said to be one of the oldest pubs in Wales and has ghosts and phantoms to prove it. Now, there is a word there, a name for a place there, but it's got too many L's and too many V's in it, and it ends in angel. So there's no way I'm going to embarrass myself by trying to speak in Welsh, because I can't do it. According to legend, the Skidded Inn was once used as a courtroom and saw many men and women sentenced to death for petty crimes. Those who were found guilty were executed at the pub itself and were hung from the staircase well. Many visitors to the inn, simply unaware of its grisly past, have reported witnessing the disturbing apparition of a corpse dangling from the ceiling. There have also been many incidences of slammed doors, broken glasses and assaulted guests. However, not all the spirits at Skidded Inn are menacing ones. It's one of the oldest public houses in the country. The building has been the scene of many jubilation and many happy memories, and for that reason it's no surprise that employees often report hearing laughter, music and the clinking of glasses coming from rooms that have been proved to be empty upon inspection. Whittington Castle. Admittedly, this location is just outside of Wales. However, such as its significance as a haunted destination, we had to include it. So after almost 1,000 years in existence, Whittington Castle is at the centre of almost many legends and ghost stories. Some believe that the castle once housed the Holy Grail, though this obviously can't be confirmed. There were hundreds of living people, however, who will support claims that the castle is indeed haunted. Centuries of battles and betrayals have left dozens of ghosts roaming the castle both inside and out, including a mysterious figure in a black cloak and hood seems to guard the castle gates. Some visitors have encountered a phantom blacksmith still in a leather apron which weighed him down during his early life. Perhaps the most frightening inhabitants of the castle are the numerous ghost children who are said to gaze from its windows, eyeing the tourists as they explore the grounds below. Children are scary enough when they're alive, so a midnight visit to Whittington Castle is not for the faint of heart. Gerich Castle in Pembrokeshire is home to many spirits and otherworldly beings, and countless orbs and other minor paranormal activity have been reported. The tale of Gerich Castle is steeped in mystery from the get-go. The rumoured reason for the building of the castle may be stranger than anything which has transpired there before in the past. According to legend, Adam de Roop, the original owner of the castle, ordered it to be built after a witch prophesied that he would die from a snake bite within a year. However, the witch also promised Roop that he would live a long and healthy life if he managed to make it through the year without being bitten. Roop, determined to minimise his contact with venomous snakes, built Gerich Castle and retired to its highest room, intending to stay there for the next 365 days. Weeks turned into months and seasons passed by with little activity. Though Roop's existence was boring, he found solace because he was still living and spent time planning his return to the outside world. Towards the end of the year, the winter weather made it difficult for Roop to remain inside the castle. So he sent a servant out for some wood so he could build a fire to warm himself. Unfortunately for Roop, the wood had not been properly inspected, and he wound up being bitten by a snake that had been lurking within a log. He died shortly after, and it is believed that his ghost still haunts the castle, with the greatest amount of activity being reported on the higher floors of the building. Among other reported ghosts is the spirit of a woman, presumed to be the daughter of a member of the family who once inhabited the castle, and she is seen to float around the halls before disappearing without a trace. Secunda Manor, as well as being a pain in the neck to spell, Lantholly, Secunda Manor, right, see, I can't, with the two L's there, it's supposed to, but I can't say it. It's purported to be one of the most famous haunted locations in the whole of the United Kingdom. Originally built in the 12th century, the manor is in the original state appeared in a great deal different than it does today. For the first few years of its existence, the manor was used as a two-storey grange by the monastery and was added on as the years went by. As well as many extensions and remodelling, the manor has had its fair share of owners. In fact, the manor once belonged to King Henry VIII, although most historians are sceptical that he ever visited the home. The building fell into a state of disrepair towards the end of the 20th century. Still, it was eventually purchased by an American lady who set about restoring it to its former glory. The manor is now a much lauded holiday home, which has proven popular with travellers from all over the world, some aware of its paranormal reputation, and some just hoping for a quiet place to stay. The building has been the site of much paranormal activity throughout its history, but recent developments to the property seem to have caused unexplainable occurrences to increase tenfold. Since the renovations, guests have reported their belongings being stolen or moved from one end of the room to the other. Chanting of monks have also been heard in various rooms throughout the manor, and on top of this, there's been much poltergeist activity in the building, with many visitors being lightly touched or pushed by unseen entities. Skidded House in Bridgend is another place of another one of those buildings used to house monks during the beginning of the 1000s, when it was first built over 800 years ago. It was a single-storey grange and was home to the Cistercian monks of Neath Abbey. 1543, the monastery was dissolved and the property fell into the hands of Richard Williams, who subsequently sold it on to Christopher Tuberville. During the Tuberville's ownership, the property underwent several drastic changes, and with 2 stories added to the original grange, as we saw with La Holly Secunda Manor, major works on historic buildings seemed to encourage paranormal activity, which would explain the multiple sightings of ghosts coming out of Skidded House for centuries. The manor's most famous ghost did not begin to appear until after the Tubervilles sold the property in 1797. A man named Isaac Williams began to let the house from its owner, Williams had 2 daughters to whom he was extremely protective. Isaac's daughter Elizabeth fell in love with a poor boy from the surrounding area, and her father was infuriated to learn of their relationship. Though he forbade it, Elizabeth and Thomas continued to meet in secret and planned to elope. When Isaac discovered their plans, he was so enraged that he locked his daughter in her bedroom and refused to set her free. She was finally permitted to leave when she agreed to marry a more respectable man from Neath, and died of a broken heart a couple of years later. Since then, visitors to the property report an uneasy feeling deeper they travel through the former Grange. There have also been numerous sightings of shadows and dark figures, particularly within the room where Elizabeth is said to have been locked up by her father. Many people have also heard high-pitched wails and cries coming from the room, presumably those of the young woman yearning for her freedom and true love. Some also believe that there is an evil presence lurking within Skier House, which is surprisingly common in buildings inhabited by religious orders. So there we go. There is day 10, so you can just see the colours. There's soft pinks in there, there's tiny hints of purples. I end up Navajo plying it, so it's like a 3-ply yarn, which makes it nice and thick. But I like the fact that there's lots of textures in there as well as the odd shiny bit and a sparkly bit and things. So that's quite pretty. I'm quite impressed with that, and it feels really lovely. But Polwarth is a lovely wool, and then you've got the natural merino that's in there as well, so it spins up delightfully. So yeah, sorry about the calamity of if you noticed my video, my phone went everywhere, the spinning wheel went everywhere, the flaming dog went everywhere, because the delivery had just been from a stock for December from World of Wool, so I can have stuff dyeing up over Christmas week, so I don't feel like I'm rushed or anything like that for when I do a new listing after Christmas. So there we go. So while I'm on the news of listings for Christmas, so I will do my last website fibre drop on Monday next week, and my last orders post Christmas to arrive in time is next Wednesday, because I'm out there posting Batty Clubs next Wednesday anyway, and I didn't want to make 2 trips into town unnecessarily, and my other half's working loads and loads of shifts that won't be mental for Christmas food shopping and stuff. So next Wednesday the 15th is my last day for guaranteed Christmas delivery, but that's not to say I'm actually my website will be open as it always is throughout the December month. So if you do place an order over Christmas week or up to the run up to New Year, I'm going to find out when my post office shuts and closes, but I'm going to presume that it's going to be open on the 27th of December again, because the bank holiday, because the Christmas falls on a weekend this year. So you've got Saturday, Sunday, and then Monday I think they're declaring as a bank holiday, so it'll be that Tuesday after Christmas. So about the 27th, 28th will be the start up of me posting out any orders. And don't forget, any orders between now and New Year's Eve, you'll get either a £5 or a £10 gift voucher. Put in your order, 1 per customer, and you can use that from January through to March next year, anytime on any item on the website, except Easter bundles and Batty Club. Can't be used in those, but as in the normal listings, like my locks and my bats and my fluff rescues and my crafters pennies when they go on there, and the occasional bags, which I'm hoping to get some more all sorted out and sewn up over Christmas week. This is what I want to do, catch up on things that I should have been doing. And I've just got a new pattern for a jumper, so I've been dyeing up. I was doing a customer order the other week, and I ordered myself a load of Aran weight wool. So I did this. So I've got to finish my chicken jumper, everybody, before you all start saying, well, Joe, what about your chicken jumper? But this is it's in pistachio, greys, ice blue. There is hints of mauve in there as well. Not a lot, but just enough to give it a bit of warmth. And I found a really lovely low bottom hanging jumper with a wide neck on it, for one of my favourite designers, and it's just a seed stitch. So I thought, well, it's equivalent to a plain jumper that I'm gonna get. It's gonna hopefully show off the colours in the wool that I dyed, but still got something in there to keep my brain active, because I do get bored if it's something that's too repetitive all the time. So yeah, I've got myself a jumper, and I wanted something that, this is, I think it's merino worsted, so it's a bit like an Aran in UK terms. And I wanted a pattern that, a jumper that I could just throw over in the summer months. You know, when you're out in the garden, there's a bit of a chill in the air and you want to be still potting around at 8, 9 o'clock at night. So I wanted a jumper that I could still wear, but then something that I can use for layering throughout the rest of the year. So yeah, Jo's been naughty and dyed herself up some wool after doing a customer yarn order the other week, which I'm debating whether, if you'd like to, start my yarn dyeing again and start putting them on the website. I do them quite a lot, more especially for my weaving, but yeah, I've been playing with the idea of starting up my hand dyed yarns again, but they're usually one-off limited editions. So if you're ever looking for a big batch for a pattern, then I can quite sort that out. That's what I was doing the other week. There was a customer order for a pattern. So anyway, stop waffling, Jo. Video's been long enough. So there we go. Day 10, Rosebud, Polworth Merino and Angelina and Mulberry Silk and Viscose. It's actually quite subtle, and you can see where my brain was thinking Rosebud. It's got that really gentle, soft tones in there. Right, I'm off. Day 11 tomorrow. See you later.